Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So in today's video we are going to discuss few numericals from the chapter Mechanical Properties of Solids. Okay, so the first question is, like, suppose you have a metallic wire, okay, and it is fixed to a rigid support. Okay, now when now its length is, actual length is L. Okay, now when it is subjected with an external force F1, okay, its length becomes L1, and when the force is F2, the length becomes L2. Okay, original length is L, this is after elongation. So when the force is F1, length is L1. When force is F2, length is L2. Okay, and now it is asked that what is the value of L. Okay, Young's modulus is 1. Okay, so these are known quantities: F1, L1, F2, L2. These are known things. Young's modulus is known. So what is the actual length? Okay, what is the actual length? So for such questions, first of all, what you need to do is, see, I am telling you how to approach a question, and we will also solve this question. So first of all, you need to identify what formula I am going to use. Now basically, it appears that this question involves expression for Young's modulus, and Young's modulus, Y, it is the ratio of longitudinal stress to longitudinal strain. Okay, this is the general definition of Young's modulus. Now, if I take A as the cross-sectional area, okay, this is, I am assuming it, length, okay, and L is the length and L I need to find. So this Young's modulus, see, whatever may be the force, whatever may be the length, the material of the wire is not going to change. So this Young's modulus, this is going to remain a constant. Okay, so this feature I am going to use to solve this question. How? Because see, if I use this piece of information, I can write Young's modulus is equal to longitudinal stress. Stress is force per unit area. So force is F1. So F1 by A divided by longitudinal strain. Strain means change in length by original length. So what will be the change in length? Final length is L1. Original length is L. So change in length will be L1 minus L. Change in length divided by original length. Okay. So this is F1 by A L. This is L1 minus L. Okay, so this is when we have the external force F1. Now similarly I can write, when the external force is F2, I can write Young's modulus is equal to F2L. If I compare this expression, instead of F1 I will have F2L divided by A L2 minus L. Okay, but this Young's modulus and this Young's modulus Y are same. Because why? Because Young's modulus depends upon the nature of the material. I am not changing the material. Okay, what I am changing is the force, external force. So that means if I say this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2, basically I can equate these two equations, isn't it? So if I equate these two equations, what do I get? I get F1L divided by A L1 minus L is equal to F2L divided by A L2 minus L. Correct? So this L cancels out, A cancels out. If I multiply this, so this is F1 L2 minus F1 L is equal to F2 L1 minus F2 L. Correct? So from this I can find, if I take this term over here, so this is F1 L2 minus F2 L1 is equal to F1 minus F2 into L. So this L becomes F1 L2 minus F2 L1 divided by F1 minus F2. So this is the value of the original length of the wire. Now next question is a graph based question. So we have basically a graph between stress and strain. Stress and strain. Okay. So we have two materials. This is material A, this is material B. So for two different materials we get these two graphs. It's a straight line. Okay. Straight line means it obeys Hooke's law. Okay. Now suppose this angle is 30 degree. This angle is also 30 degree. Okay. And it is asked, find the ratio of the Young's modulus of these two materials. Okay. Ratio of Young's modulus means basically we have to find YA by YB. Okay. Now see, Young's modulus, it is a ratio of longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain. Correct? Stress by strain. So basically it is equal to slope of this graph. Stress by strain. So that is equal to slope. Now slope, it is equal to tan theta. Slope is equal to tan theta. What is this theta? Suppose this is y-axis, this is x-axis, this is the straight line, this angle is theta. So this tan theta is this theta. Okay. So basically I need the angle made with reference to orthogonal x-axis. So for material A I know the angle. For material B I don't know the angle. Means angle is made with respect to y-axis. So if this angle is 30 degree, this angle will be 60 degree. Correct? So that means if I write YA by YB, YA by YB, that will be equal to tan. For A, this angle is 30 degree. So tan 30 degree divided by tan. This angle is 60 degree. So tan 60 degree. So YA by YB, it is equal to tan 30 degree is 1 by root 3 divided by root 3. So this is equal to 1 by 3. Okay. So that means YA by YB is equal to 1 by 3. So this is the final ratio, final answer. This is one small concept, and this concept involves relation between density rho. Okay, this is density, pressure P, and bulk modulus B. Okay, the relation between density, pressure, and bulk modulus. Okay. Now, see, what is bulk modulus? Bulk modulus we represented by the equation P is equal to minus delta P by delta V by V. Okay, see, bulk modulus is basically volume stress by volume strain, isn't it? Now this volume stress, it is force per unit area, volume strain is delta V by V. Now force per unit area, bulk modulus normally we define for liquids and gases, that is fluids. Okay, it is also defined for solids, but normally for fluids. Now for fluids, see this force per unit area, this can be represented by pressure. Okay, pressure. So I am writing delta P. Why delta P? Because whenever there is a change in volume, delta V represents change in volume. So whenever there is a change in volume, there will be change in pressure. So basically this pressure, when this pressure represents the change in pressure. So that is why instead of P I am writing delta P. So in some books they write P, in some books they write delta P, but with reference to bulk modulus, it means the same. Okay. Now minus sign, it denotes that if delta V is negative, that means if volume is decreasing, that means pressure is increasing, because whenever you increase the pressure, volume will decrease. Correct? So delta V and delta P, they will have opposite sign. So that is the significance of this negative sign. Okay. Now also we know that density, it is equal to mass by volume. Density is equal to mass by volume. Okay. So I can write volume into density, it is equal to mass, which is a constant term. which is a constant term. If I differentiate this term in this equation, so this becomes V delta rho plus rho delta V, it is equal to 0. Why? Because see, here what I have done, see we have two terms. Now volume and density both are variables, mass is a constant. So when you have two variables, how do you differentiate? I have differentiated density. So here I am changing the density, volume is kept constant. Then I have kept density constant and differentiated volume. And that is equal to 0 because mass is constant. Okay. So I can write this V delta rho is equal to rho minus rho delta V. So that is minus delta V by V is equal to delta rho by rho. Okay. So minus delta V by V equal to delta rho by rho. So that means in this expression this term can be replaced by delta rho by rho. If I bring this minus sign over here, B is equal to delta P by minus delta V by V. So minus delta V by V can be replaced by delta rho by rho. So this is equal to delta P. This is pressure. Okay, this you need to be careful. This is P, this is rho. Divided by delta rho by rho. Okay, so this becomes delta rho by rho, it is equal to delta P by D. Okay, so if I add 1 to both sides, 1 plus delta rho by rho, it is equal to 1 plus delta P. This is P, this is rho. Okay, be careful. Okay, so I have added 1 to both sides. So this is rho plus delta rho by rho is equal to 1 plus delta P by B. So this is rho plus delta rho means this is the final density, initial density plus the change in density. So I can write this as, this expression can be written as rho final by rho initial is equal to this quantity. So that means I can write this as the final result, rho final density, it is equal to rho initial density 1 plus delta P by B, where this is the change in pressure. This is the change in pressure. Okay, so this is a very important formula. Okay. Now based on this formula, you have a question in your exercise 9.13. The question says density of water at a depth where pressure is 80 atmosphere. Okay, so this is water. So at a depth, here pressure is 80 atmosphere. Okay, what is the density of water at a depth where pressure is 80 atmosphere, given that its density at the surface is 1.03 into 10 power 3. There's a misprint. Some books it is written as 1.03 into 103. Actually it is 1.03 10 power 3. Means here the density is 1.03 into 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. This is on the surface. So what is the density at this depth where the pressure is 80 atmosphere? So suppose this is the initial density, this is the final density. Okay. Now this pressure at surface, we know pressure at surface it is 1 atmosphere. Pressure at surface is 1 atmosphere. So if I use this expression, I need to find the final density. So final density is equal to initial density, that is this quantity 1.03 into 10 power 3, 1 plus delta P. Delta P means change in pressure. So here pressure surface is 1 atmosphere, here it is 80 atmosphere. So that is 79 atmosphere. Okay, so this is 79 atmosphere. If you convert it into Newton per meter square, bulk modulus is bulk modulus of water. Okay, bulk modulus of water is 2.2 into 10 power 9 Newton per meter square. Okay, 1 atmosphere 10 power 5 Newton per meter square. So this is 79 into this quantity. Okay. So if you simplify this, you will get the final answer. So final density will be somewhere around, see this quantity will be obviously it will be very much less than 1. So final answer will be something around close to this value, 1.03 into 10 power 3 kg per meter cube. So the next term that we need to learn is Poisson ratio. Poisson ratio denoted by the symbol sigma. Now what is this ratio? See, suppose we have a wire or a cylinder which is rigidly fixed, metal wire or metallic cylinder. Okay. Now if some force is applied, okay, such that there is an increase in length. So if the length increases, the radius will decrease. So that ratio is studied in terms of Poisson ratio. So basically this Poisson ratio, it is a ratio of lateral strain to longitudinal strain. Lateral strain to longitudinal strain. So both are dimensionless quantity. So that means this Poisson ratio will be a dimensionless quantity. It will be a pure number. Okay. So lateral strain, it is delta r by r, change in radius by original radius, or you can write it as change in diameter to original diameter. Okay. Longitudinal strain is change in length by original length. So this is delta L by L, or so you can write it like delta R by R divided by delta L by L, or you can write delta D by D divided by delta L by L. The only thing is regarding a sign. Sign is, see, delta L and delta R. Delta means change. So delta L represents change in length. So if the length is increasing, obviously the radius will decrease. So this delta will have opposite sign, means if delta L is positive, delta R will be negative. So if they have opposite sign, that means overall the quantity will have a negative sign. So I am writing a negative sign over here. Okay, so this is the expression for Poisson ratio. Okay, so we have sigma is equal to minus delta R by R divided by delta L by L. Okay, so this is the expression for Poisson ratio. Now, what happens if the body is a perfectly rigid body? See, suppose this is in the form of a cylinder. So V is equal to pi R square L. Okay, now if it is a rigid body, perfectly rigid body means volume is not going to change, so volume is going to be constant. Now if volume is going to be constant, if I differentiate this, delta V is equal to pi R square. So I'm taking this as constant, so I'm differentiating L, so this becomes delta L. Okay, there are two terms, R and L. So first I'm differentiating L, so that becomes delta L. So plus pi L. I'm taking this, pi is already constant, I'm taking L constant, I'm differentiating R. So x power n is nx minus 1, n minus 1. X power y is equal to x power n. So dy is equal to nx n minus 1 dx, correct? So here it is R square, so it will become twice R delta R. Okay. So this becomes 0 is equal to pi R square delta L plus 2 pi R L delta R. Okay, so if you rearrange this is so if I take this over the other side, so this will be minus. Okay, so this pi cancels out, this R also goes, so this is R delta L. R delta L is equal to minus 2L delta R. So that means delta R by R is equal to minus 1 by 2 delta L by L. Okay, so if I substitute over here, this becomes sigma is equal to minus 1 by 2 delta L by L with a minus sign. Okay, divided by delta L by L. So delta L by L cancels. This minus becomes plus. So sigma is equal to 1 by 2. So sigma is equal to 1 by 2 for what kind of objects? For perfectly rigid body. For perfectly rigid body, sigma is equal to, Poisson ratio is 1 by 2. Okay, so this is about Poisson ratio. Okay, so I hope the concepts discussed in today's video are clear to you. If you have any doubts, you can do comment or you can contact me also. So I will definitely help. Okay. So with this, I end this video. My best wishes to you.